In 1999, my dad was diagnosed with cancer. And over the decade after that, he battled it. It kept coming back. He had 5 major operations, the last of which was 2 years ago. And this all started when I was 8 years old. Before he had cancer, I thought that my dad was indestructible. And I think most children, most 8-year-olds, think that, they think that their dad's Superman. But I never really felt that way afterwards. What I do remember feeling was quite helpless. I remember feeling quite exhausted, fatigued, and I felt like I couldn't help the situation. That was the first time I felt like I couldn't do anything. So when I turned 16, that was the first time I started to feel like I could actually regain some control. I made my first whole blood donation, and I started to get some confidence back. Unfortunately, I'd actually just been to the dentist the week before, and the nurses told me after my whole blood donation that they couldn't use my blood. They could only use the plasma. And it was just that way they said it, that they could only use the plasma. I'd felt like I'd been punched in the gut, quite frankly. And the important thing about blood research is self-efficacy. So your confidence in your ability to be able to pull something off or do something, well, it's often the deciding factor between whether you continue to do something or if you stop entirely. And I'd been told that they could only use my plasma. It was just that wording. And all of a sudden, my confidence had gone. It wasn't until much, much later that I actually realized how important plasma was, and that my donations actually would have counted. But I'd stopped for quite a while. For those of you who aren't aware of what plasma is, your blood may be red, but 55% of it is actually built up with a straw-colored liquid, which is called plasma. 34% of all plasma donations do go to cancer patients. Plasma can also be manufactured into 17 different health-related products. Last year, 10 million litres of plasma was donated globally. But here in Australia, we still managed to eat 40 times that volume in ice cream. So what can we really do about this? At the moment, my perspective is that I think a lot of people who are donating, who are regularly donating blood or plasma, often do so for tragic reasons, perhaps similar to my own. What we can do about it? I think it's a matter of bridging the gap between the whys of donating. I think we need a fundamental change in youth attitudes towards donations. These are young adults who can donate for multiple decades. So what if we could just do this with a simple app? What if we could gamify this process? Gamification is about leveraging young people's desire for status, their competitive instincts, as well as their altruistic motives. So what if we could put that all into one app? This kind of an app, I think, would look a lot like, if you pull out your phone, you'd be able to book yourself in for your appointment. You'd be able to also nominate your friend to be booked in for the same time slot. You'd also be able to set your health and donation-related goals for the entire year. You'd be able to compete against friends, track your progress. You'd be able to see a meter filling up and up and up. You'd be rewarded for achieving these milestones as well. By socially recognizing young people on social media, for example, I think we can start to change the stigma. I think we can start to create a social expectation for giving. Now, to finish up, I don't want it to cost you a loved one to realize how important your donation really is. The need for blood and plasma-related products in the future, well, in Australia alone, it's going to double over the next 10 years. This isn't just a problem specific to the Australian context. My vision for the future would be for all developed countries to have 10% of their population registered as regular donors by 2020. So think about how many people are here in the room today. Most of you have a person to your left and to your right. Chances are 1 in you 3 will actually need blood at some point in your life. But if we think about how many people are here, there's 120 of us. If we were 120 average Australians, these 3 and this 1 person would be the donors. But I know that none of you here today are just average. So maybe next week, what you can do in the meantime before this app is developed. Maybe reconnect with someone you met here today. Roll up your sleeves and go and donate, and show each other some support. And if you are afraid of needles, don't let that stop you. Every once in a while, we all deal with a prick. Thank you.